it turned Rach and I into bad examples to our kids. How old were you when you got your first phone? Everybody is now a social media influencer if they have a social media account, whether you want to or not. I wonder if we talk about this or not. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Raising Ohana.
Ohana.
Okay, we have had some crazy things happen over the last couple weeks, which has stirred up some conversations. Yesterday, we did what?
We drove all the way down to LA for a social media event.
And back.
And there were like 100+ teenage girls there. And it was very interesting because I went and sat in the old people area with food.
The old people area.
And I just hung out with like
the parent zone.
Yeah, nice drinks, some gelato, some like margarita pizzas. It was great. And it's so interesting. It sprung up some conversations with us and the kids, but it goes back. Let's go back farther than that.
That's right. So a couple weeks ago, we had an interesting experience happen, and which spurred the idea of having our kids throw their iPhones away.
Not our idea.
Not our idea.
Their idea to throw away their iPhones.
So
crazy.
You tell the story.
Okay. Story goes like this.
So crazy.
On a cold wintry night, I was walking uphill to school both ways with my daughter in the rain and the snow. And we went to the mall. And at the mall, we were walking through, and Journey Nelson is working at the hot dog on a stick there. And I'm like, what's up, Journey?
She's a friend of ours. And like, what do you think? 23, 24?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Journey and I have our secret handshake.
Boom.
And then she's like, hey, Evie, who's walking behind me.
No response.
Not a word.
No response.
So we get a little farther, and I finally get a hold, because I'm like, Evie, Journey said, hey. Nothing. We get into the other store. I'm like, yo, what's up? She's like, what? I'm like, Journey totally said hi to you, and you did nothing. She's like, no. I said, no. And I tried to talk to you, and you still said no. She goes, I'm a screenager.
New word for the vocabulary books, guys.
She says she's a screenager. I ask her what a screenager is. Basically, it's a teenager that isn't a teenager. They're an individual so focused on their screen that they're not even a real teenager anymore.
And what's interesting is Evie is our most observant child, like for herself. She really observes things, and she's kind of overcome a lot of fears.
The most self-aware teenager I've ever met.
And I love that. I love that about her. And what I think was shocking for her is because she is really... finds that relationships are really important for her. So for her to come across as a screenager, was so upsetting to her.
So upsetting that she pulled us aside afterwards and
she says, Mom, Dad, I want to throw my iPhone in the trash and I want to get a flip phone. Legit. A flip phone. We were like, wait, what?
So what do? We write a whole YouTube thing about this. We film an entire video about our daughters and the process of going from iPhones down to flip phones.
That's right. We went shopping, which, for the record, flip phones are hard to find. They have some.
They only make them for like old people with like emergency alerts on them. Like, I've fallen and I can't get up.
It's so crazy. But we did. We found a flip phone that was good. And we did. We created this whole, or we filmed a YouTube video around it. So you guys can go watch it on our Ohana Adventure YouTube channel. Or don't. But it was really fun. We played some challenges so that they could choose a phone. And I actually had an emotional moment at the end because I really felt like this was such a big grown-up thing to do, for her to be self-aware that something happened that she was embarrassed about, and for her to change and to improve upon her actions, right?
Well, and it wasn't just the one moment for her. I think she had noticed that there's many other things she's missed out on because she was on her phone scrolling and looking at stuff. And I think she had mentioned also that like her fashion doesn't fit in with what she sees online and all these other things that added up to, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for her. She was like, you know what? This thing's bringing me less joy than more joy. This thing is taking away rather than adding to.
Which is so interesting. So we filmed this whole video, but we wanted to share a lot about this because we've had many people ask us as we have brought our family into the spotlight.
Into the internet.
Kind of fame or however you want to put that. But we are out there online, and how we kind of navigate what screens look like, how we navigate like fame or interacting with other people online.
Let's not call it fame. Let's call it like recognizability. No, fame is better. I just hate the word fame.
I don't know. It's weird. We don't consider ourselves famous because I think it's such a faux pas type thing.
The first time we were famous to somebody else, this was what, 2015?
Oh my gosh. The first time that we got recognized in public was so crazy. We were traveling to Canada. We were in Canada getting some snacks because
not just Canada. We were in the middle of the Yukon on an Indian reservation on a grocery store that was this big.
It was awesome.
And this woman, Rach noticed the girl. I noticed the woman.
So this is kind of like
we're being filmed.
Jace has what we call the fan radar, and Jace can kind of see when anyone kind of recognizes us, and it's so interesting. It kind of looks like, well, I don't do it very well, but I'm like, there's pointing or big eyeballs.
What and then there's the strategic,
phone
the very
pulling
strategic.
Out.
They're like, oh, wait. Is it really them? I don't know. This is the inner monologue. And then they go like this.
They
get the double chin.
They
always,
check their phones.
Because they're trying to be secretive. And they're checking. They look. And then they go.
Their eyes get even bigger.
And then they try not to. And then they go to their friend. And then this is a dead giveaway. If those already weren't, it's the. Right there. And then the.
So we were in line buying our snacks, and I definitely recognized that this girl, 12 to 14 years old, had her phone up, and she's kind of doing this selfie thing and trying to get us behind her in her phone.
And then the mom on Snapchat goes like this over her shoulder and gets me. Problem was, it was in selfie mode, so I saw me on her screen, and I waved.
It was hilarious.
And it was a great short conversation. Because we were blown away.
We only had like 5,000 subscribers.
It definitely changed our mindset of, oh, this is a thing. It's not just our family journal. And there's a few people watching. This was what, 5,000 at the time?
Yeah, like 5,000 subscribers. And it definitely led to a lot of conversations. And when you introduce that idea of like people are
We're not allowed to be angry in public anymore.
Recognize you. We definitely had a lot of talks as when the children were younger, and as a mom needs to like, hey, don't hit your children. Jace would be like, you gotta not sound so mean in front of people. And I was like, I'm not mean. I'm just like,
well, I would just let her know when we had fans
children
around, and she's like, hey guys, you can't do this and you can't do that, because out of context it can look bad, especially out of context.
That's right. Don't hit your brother.
Yeah. See, that looked so mean. Oh my gosh.
But it's true. And it definitely created conversations that we got to have with our children. And a lot of it looked like what that interaction looks like. So we had to explain to them like, hey, we're filming videos in our home, topics that we talk about every day, or showing us go to, not to school, like in public, but like so many different things that we have going on in our lives. And so people feel that they are in our houses, in our relationships with us. And so what does that look like to, say, those that are watching? It looks like a relationship for them, but even though we do not have a relationship, say, with necessarily someone on the other side, because we don't know anything about you, right? And so we had to have these conversations with our kids that sometimes you're going to get recognized. People are going to feel that they know you really well. So one thing that we do like to do is when we meet people is ask about them.
3 questions.
Because we want to know about, obviously, those that watch us and, start that relationship.
Yep. So we ask them 3 questions. It's all about them because they already know all about us. And it's really fun. We try to make it about them so that it's a good experience, and we know a little bit more about them. They got to tell us because they're like, oh, I know Shay and I know Evie and I know Cora. But can I backtrack a little bit?
Yeah.
What this did for our family was it turned Rach and I into bad examples to our kids. Now, what I mean...
Oh, us being on our phones all the time?
We were on our phones
like all the time.
Nonstop, looking at stats, checking other videos, trying to come up with content. And so I don't know if you've ever seen either babies or cats. These are 2 very good examples.
What?
If you are always on a keyboard, what does the cat come for?
Oh, the keyboard.
The keyboard. If your child, if you're always on a keyboard or anything you go to a lot, a baby recognizes that and wants it. So in our family, we have teenagers down to, my goodness, how old was Cora?
At the time, Cora was 3.
3.
We had her 4-year-old
That's
birthday.
basically 1. No, but she's so teeny, and all she sees is us on our phones all the time. Mm-hmm. So we were being productive. It was work. We were spending work hours. Mm-hmm. But to our children, they don't know. They That's just right. see us scrolling and showing and scrolling and showing. So that started a very bad precedence in our family for screen time. And now that our kids are teenagers, Rach looked up some stats. I would love for you to go over some of these stats.
So this is great because we're going to talk about how this affected our family and how we've navigated that and changed things throughout our kind of social media
life. We've got no-go
life.
Zones for phones in the house. We've got
which we'll talk about in a
stuff.
second. But here's some interesting stats. So the average screen time for children from 8 to 18, guess what it is?
I don't know.
7 hours.
And they're on their phone more than I sleep.
That does not include homework.
I guess I'm on my phone more than I sleep too because I've hit 7 hours.
So
before.
Honestly, like I probably average 6 hours on my phone as well, which is horrible. And throughout
how much of that 6 hours for you is work, actual work?
I would say
we make the excuse that we're scrolling to find new reels and stuff, but we're really just scrolling. But
I would say 1 hour hardcore work and like say another half hour to another hour of like research.
Got it.
But another stat is 1 in 3 teens say that they are online almost constantly. Yeah. And that's by Pew Research.
Yeah.
Now, another one I really, really enjoy is 90% of teens say social media is a major part of their life, but only 40% of that 90% say that they feel worse about themselves for being online. Not for being online like addiction, but because the results of being online.
Well, Evie, that was one of Evie's things was that her style is much baggier, but not baggy grunge. So she doesn't fit in with the crop top, spaghetti strap, miniskirt crowd. She doesn't fit in with like the skater crowd. She's just her own kind of beautiful. And we love it.
Honestly, some of the most eclectic fashion. And I love it because it's just Evie. Like ever since she was little, she would be like, I like this and I like this and we'll put it together. And it worked. Like it was like so cute. But again, she's not like everyone that you see online.
And everybody else is pushing something else, trying to get everybody else to fit that mold. I mean, the first day of school, it's crazy how well the marketing companies do. All the kids show up in like the same outfits, whether it's this group, this group, this group, or this group. It was crazy to me.
Oh my gosh, I did. I saw like a picture where it's like, how can you tell American teenagers? Blue jeans and a black or white crop top / tank top. Yeah. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, as we travel to LA, as we travel all these places, I was like, that is the style. The blue baggy jeans and
that's only recent because before it wasn't. It was the skinny jeans. But it's just all of that. But Evie had her own. So her getting rid of her phone was definitely, that was part of it where she's like, yeah, I love being me. But everyone else is telling me that to be cool or to be awesome or this or this or this, I'm supposed to be doing this. So one of the things checked off with her getting rid of her phone is outside negative influences, which is amazing that she got rid of it and that Cora followed along.
Yeah.
Because Cora doesn't follow anybody for nothing.
Cora doesn't,
but she
not
wanted
really
to do it as well.
Pressured into it. But I think Evie as a big sister is a really good influence on her and probably bad at times too, but like mostly good. And she kind of gave it the vibe. This is the vibe of the new phone and it's so aesthetic, which I was like, if it's trending, let's go with that. Like that's a great idea. And which is really great because in the past, we've set up some boundaries and rules for screen time, which we'll talk about a little bit later and how we've kind of structured our home. But I was really impressed on how Evie, being self-aware, wanted to have this problem that she saw in herself and her habits to move on, right? So this was really great that Evie and Cora have made this decision. So way back in the day when Clay started having a phone, she was 13 years old, and we got a lot of pressure from everyone around us. Oh, all the kids have phones. And now it's true. They either have a smartwatch or a phone. And I get the idea.
Thing back then, like, how old until you buy your kid a phone? And now it's like,
I swear,
wait,
like,
your kid doesn't have one?
I feel like 5-year-olds have phones or
do.
watches, and it's such a different world than we lived in.
Please
growing
comment
up.
that down below. How old were you when you got your first phone
Or
watch?
As parents, how
And
old are
parents,
you giving your children?
How
a
old
phone?
do you do it? I would love to know that. Not for shaming this and that, but just to see if there's a norm right now. If it's just as soon as they can communicate. Because my sister, her kids got watches as soon as they went into elementary school.
And I get the idea because honestly, you can track them and make them, it's like another safety idea. Like, oh, I know where my kid is at, and they do have like emergency type situations. So it's really interesting. We'd love to hear about you. So when our kids were in elementary and Clay got her first phone, no one had phones in elementary.
Wait, we don't have anybody in elementary school anymore.
Nope, we don't. Clora is in 8th grade, so she's middle school all the way. But as we navigated them going to junior high and high school, we had to set up some boundaries for screens. And
man, did we get hate for it.
Oh, we definitely got some hate. And one of the big things that I found was really helpful when we first started getting phones for our kids is the parent tech contract or the phone contract.
Yeah.
And we had them sit down, and I saw this online somewhere, and here were some ideas that they could write down, but we had them review boundaries and we talked about them, like, where do you think is a good place to put your phone, or where do you think you should not take your phone, and all sorts of good conversation starters. And then we had them write down a contract of what they were going to do with their phone, where they were going to take it, where were the rules, and we had them sign it, and we said, what are some consequences? And they wrote down consequences.
Yep.
And most of them said things like, take my phone away for a day or a week, or whatever. And we
but them owning that was great, because it's not us, it's them coming up with it, and we literally walked away so they could come up with it. And some of them were so hardcore. I don't think any of the contracts we made more hardcore than the kids made.
Oh, no.
We actually stepped them back.
We did.
Because they were willing to sell the farm.
They were like, I will not go out with friends for a month. We were like, I see that you're trying to be good here.
It's not that big of a deal. Oh, really? No. What?
So we did a lot of boundaries as they went from elementary to high school, and some of those boundaries we'll talk about in a little bit, but we felt like there were some definite topics that we needed to talk about as we moved from elementary into high school and as we progressed more about being online. So one of those things was online safety. Huge conversations that we've had multiple times.
And I think a great book for this, we'll link it down below. It's one of our friends, Mindy McKnight, her and Sean. Mm-hmm. She wrote a book called Viral Parenting. I think it came out in 2019.
Yeah.
Which is a great time for it, right before 2020, when all you could do was be on your phone. And so she wrote that book. I saw on Amazon, there's only I don't know, there's not a ton of them left.
It's a great book.
Awesome book, though.
I highly suggest you guys read it, because it is not just about like YouTubers and influencers online. It's really about navigating online.
Yep.
And being online is really, I think we all need to be aware. This is not just for YouTubers. If you have an Instagram account, your child has an Instagram, a Facebook, any social media, you do have to have the online safety conversation, right? You need to have them understand what the harmful dangers are out there and how to protect themselves.
No, nice people don't want to meet you late at night in a park with a pizza. It doesn't happen.
There are predators, guys.
Any of that is not, it's not. And so going over all that with our kids, all those other things, but I think, and not for YouTubers, anybody can get paid on social media nowadays. Mm-hmm. The social media companies can pay anybody that's having content go out. So everybody is now a social media influencer if they have a social media account. Everyone is. Yeah. Whether you want to or not, you're influencing your 12, your 1,200, your 12,000, or your 12 million people on your social media. You are influencing them in some way or another. If you go on vacation, they now want to go there. If
that's
it
right.
looks cool in your photos.
Honestly, like all of your Facebook friends, any of that's happening all the time. Like when you go on a trip, even if you're not posting on social media, you're telling someone, right? So that influence is happening everywhere.
Everybody is an influencer now. So nobody's an influencer because everyone is. Just some of them have structured it and they get paid more than others now.
So for online safety, we really love to go over with our kids messaging, right? Like however you get messaging on that platform, DMs, instant messenger, whatever.
You don't go into DMs. You just hit delete all.
We do not allow our younger kids up to probably even age 16 to open DMs. We find that if you do have a larger influence, circle, that you will get many, many strangers that will just send horrible things.
Gosh, I wonder if we talk about this or not.
But
let's do it. Okay, go for it.
I'm not sure what you're going to say.
It's going to be a little intense.
So for us, a big boundary was no DMs because 1, you're either going to get a predator trying to reach out. 2, someone's going to send horrible things, pictures, who knows what, to get you to either click, buy, or do whatever. So that's also bad. And 3, if you don't actually know the person physically, right, you should not actually be talking to them. So, and if they do know you personally, you've met in person, then you probably have exchanged a phone number. So DMs are literally a place where you probably should not be hanging out until you're older.
For years and years and years, I'm the only person that would go into the kids' social media DMs. And it was very interesting because our costumes on our channel were never sleeveless or tank tops or mini skirts or short shorts. Other people do it. Totally fine. That's up to you. It's great. But from our experience and our safety, our costume in any photos or videos was those things were never allowed. And what's very interesting is when our kids would post stuff, we actually have never, I have never, ever in any of our girls' Instagram DMs seen a DP. Won't explain it. You got to know what it is.
Or had.
I never have because, and this isn't because we're so cool. It's not because we're so this, we're so that. We're probably more prudes than anything, but
we're just not inviting that.
We're not inviting those people that are looking for those things. We had a friend and she was filming her kids playing outside, but she was in her underwear. And she didn't realize it until other people had messaged her that you could see in the reflection of the glass her in her underwear.
So she's on the inside, right, through her like glass
and she
door.
Said filming. She had never seen anything like that. But after that went out, she was getting tons of DMs. She was
getting lots
other
of
stuff,
obviously,
but their views went way up, and their viewership went middle-aged male for the first time ever.
Scared.
It tipped up middle-aged male.
Crazy.
So those people are there. And we just decided as online safety, we don't put, if you go to our videos, they're wearing rash guards when they're little kids, right? Until they're old enough that they made the decision that they'd wear something else, but they were in rash guards and that kind of stuff so that we didn't introduce them into having those kinds of DMs sent to them. And to this day, I don't know about Clay anymore, but Raquel, Evie, and Cora have not had that. And so that's a safety thing. People can hate us for it, love us for it. But when that is out there, I know this is a huge conversation because it's like, well, it's the men have to be in charge of totally. But if you don't want those DMs and you don't want those people to come for you, there is ways to do it, or privatize your account, because if there's that stuff, they are out there, they are looking, and they are trying to get that dopamine hit from seeing a little slip or see a little oopsie up a short or any of that stuff, because it is very real. We had a meeting with YouTube at their boardroom table, and I was yelling and was told to calm down at YouTube headquarters.
And what's interesting is a little side note about the YouTube headquarters. In the family space, if you receive a lot of predatory comments, like on your video, whatever it is, they come after your video. Do they go after the predator? They try to shut down certain things.
Not anymore.
But they don't anymore. They come after your YouTube video because obviously you are inspiring some kind of predatory movement. And so they shut your video down. And we felt like that is not our fault. We have lots of...
They claim this isn't the way it is. I'm even scared to put this into our thing. But we were there for an entire day meeting with them on predatory practices on YouTube. And it was us and 4 other YouTubers, YouTube families, YouTubers. And I was ticked because it's so easy to shut down a predator's account. they're like, well, they'll just start a new one. We're like, so you shut down the person making the content?
Yes. So
but they can't make a new one.
We feel that for online safety, we want to create an atmosphere that is promoting that safety. So we are very strong about that DMs. We're strong about what kind of information that we put out there, which we'll go even more into. But more safety would also be, and we did mess up on this one a few times, not filming our streets. We don't film personal information like where the kids go to school, like Signia, like school Signia. But we at one point when we were smaller, we didn't realize that we were going to become YouTube famous, right? Or however you want to look at that. But we did share one of the schools, or we did share.
Well, we were running down the street playing Pokemon,
right?
Throwing balls at each other. And we went right by a street sign. And that was just enough just for neighbor kids.
Yeah.
Nobody else. But neighbor kids were stopping by our house, bringing cupcakes. They were coming home from school, sitting on our lawn, hoping we came outside.
And we had a lot of fans let us know, and we have really great supportive fans, but they let us know, hey, we found out what school your kids go to. We found out this because of this in this video. And so this is a good time to have that conversation. Again, like Jay said, if you do not have a big social media following, it doesn't matter. Please do not have your children sharing your first day of school pictures in front of the school. Don't share in front of Signia. Don't share, in front of your street or your house number, right? This is just good online safety information. So that's one of our things that we've kind of gone over with the digital life is online safety. Okay. So another topic that we like to talk with our kids and have talked with them as we've progressed in this digital life that we live in is content creation. So, I mean, this is actually probably an everyday topic that we talk about, but more so the
only
purpose.
because we have 5,000 videos out on the internet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're constantly trying to obviously come up with concepts, things that like fit with our family values, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to being online and not if you're creating content just for YouTube or to be an influencer, it's really like, why are we creating this? Like, why are we putting stuff out there? And we like to have conversations with our kids because sometimes, occasionally, when you have a child that's kind of growing into teenage years, you have to help them understand what happens online. And we had one time where one of our daughters had shared something, and
it was a promotional thing. She was trying to win something. Is this the one?
Yes. And she didn't get as many likes or comments to win this item, right? So it was kind of like a 1 + 1 = 2 thing, right? Like, so she was sharing, and if she got so many likes, she got this, like, she won this thing. And she didn't in a certain amount of time.
And I get a DM. Jace, Cora just put this out on the internet. And I'm like, I don't normally click on these, but I clicked on this one. And Cora's like, hey guys, so I have 60,000 of you following me, but I couldn't even get like 500 likes on that. So you probably shouldn't even be following me, because if you're not going to like stuff, then you definitely don't. And she was getting like sassy. And I was like, hold up. This is not who we are. And so I showed it to Cora. I said, hey, Cora, watch this. She goes, yeah. And I was like, okay, so, and I don't remember what real world application I gave to her about like, okay, Cora, so if you're walking to school and this and this and this, but people don't this and that, whatever it was, she was like, no, I was just telling him that, like, what are you even here for if you're not going to like this? And I was like, no, it took so long.
It took a minute for her.
A 12-year-old brain was like, she's very logic based. It's not emotion based. And so this wasn't like a dig. This was like a, hey, you probably shouldn't even be here, because if you're not going to be here, don't be here.
Well, and I also think she didn't understand the concepts of, you might have 100 followers, but really only 5 or 10 actually see your content daily, right? Something like that. And so I think she didn't understand that all of her followers were not seeing things. And she is so sweet, and she really was just trying to earn this thing, but she wanted to have this interaction because she wanted to, create more fun stuff. But her reaction was probably not the best. And we wanted her to realize, hey, well,
she ran and pulled it down.
Yeah, she
immediately
did. She was embarrassed when she realized, oh, is that how it comes across?
Yeah.
And we had a good conversation with her and be like, we know sometimes it's really disappointing when you do something and you know, like if we create a video and it doesn't get as many views and we think people will love this and they want to have this
we have 5 million followers and we only got 50,000 views. Y'all can take a hike.
Right. And so it was a hard concept, but a really good time to have a conversation.
It was great.
About why we create content. And the main reason why we started creating content 10 years ago on YouTube or on social media was to create more fun family goodness, right? We believe in large families. We have a large family and we wanted to show that large families are cool. We wanted to create fun things for our family.
Large parents and kids can have relationships. It's not just what Disney puts out there that the dad's an idiot, the mom is way too strict, and the kids know better. We're like, no, there's so much more to the dynamic than Disney's recipe for family. And so we said, you know what? I had already been filming. We had some camera gear. I knew how to edit. Rach then was learning how to edit. We're like, you know what? Let's just make an epic family journal. And if it turns into a YouTube channel, awesome. If it doesn't, we have an epic family journal. And now on Christmas, we have 10 years of Christmases that we can just hit play on a playlist. And we have all those memories at our fingertips.
Honestly, at Christmas time, we actually do that. We pull up our YouTube channel up in the theater and we watch old vlogs of our family. And we really like to relive that.
Laugh our heads off.
And that is kind of the conversation that we like to have with our kids is the reason why we started it. Now, everyone can start a channel for different reasons, right? Like there's tons of people that are like, I want to show how to fix cars. Like a lot of people ask me, this is a how-to channel, or I want to show how cool this is, or share some fun adventures or travel tips, whatever it is. We want to emphasize to our children, like if you're creating content, like just go over what the motive is. What is your purpose? Are you wanting to do it to share some tip that you have, share some goodness?
The why,
right? And honestly, that authenticity of whoever you are should be the reason why you're sharing stuff, right?
Unless you're starting it to be a comedian and have a persona or things like that. But if you're doing it to be, and you're going to be you. Like,
and it is hard
be you.
To keep you at times. Honestly, there's times where our versions of ourselves have changed. We're like, oh, wait, I don't like that version of myself. I want to be more like this authentic version of myself. And so things happen and you have to adjust and you have to recenter and come back to, oh, this is why we started it. Yep. We had fun. We're doing this. And that's the reason why we're going to go back to that. And so that content creation comes up a lot of the times. And we just ask our kids, like, what do you want to do with this video? I think it'd be so fun just to play these games. Okay, let's play these games, like whatever that is. Okay. So the next thing that we like to talk about with our kids with screens and digital life online is healthy screen time habits, right? We shared stats at the beginning that were kind of shocking, and it is always shocking if you go over your own screen time.
Okay.
Right now. Okay, we're going to do
Today is horrible.
We're going to do a real check of our screen time.
Let's do yesterday.
No, just our week. Let's do our whole week, and that will average our week.
Oh,
so
I really don't
we're going to pull
this.
up our screen time. And this is...
I actually don't look at this. I don't know where it is.
I'll show you. You go into your settings, and it should be... Oh, there it is right there. Whoa. Okay. So it will average your week, right? Some days are way high and some days are much lower. I average 6 hours and 40 minutes a day.
So my huge one, I think it's because my phone was just on while we drove to California and back, because I was on for 18 hours supposedly yesterday.
Well, I'm the one that had the maps.
I know, but my phone literally shows I was on for 18 hours yesterday.
That's super off. That's
and
weird.
Then also on Tuesday when I was flying back from Alaska, it shows I was on for 16 hours. So I'm going to go over my other ones. My actual, 5 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours. So I'd say my average
7 or 8
is probably 7.
So this is...
What was yours?
Mine is 640.
Dang.
So this is a really good thing to do. So when we lived in Scotland, I found that as we were in Scotland, Not a lot of social interactions going on. We did a lot of fun adventures and hiking and all things like that. But when
we had weekly social stuff, but not daily.
Yes.
Because we were in the middle of a 100+ acre farm.
We found that over our time there, we became more and more online because we kind of felt isolated. And I think that we were turning to online to interact, right? Social media, Instagram, texting our friends.
The kids definitely were FaceTiming.
For sure.
And
now, about halfway through our time there, I was like, oh my gosh, it's getting more and more. And so we would do kind of like a Monday check-in. We would do a Monday check-in with the kids. I did this. Jace was sometimes working, so he may not have been in it every week, but we would check and be like, okay, what was your average screen time for last week? And we kind of all reflect and be like, what happened? What were we doing? Like, of course, if we road trip, I might be on the phone a lot, right? Or if we're traveling, you might be on the phone a little bit more. But we did a little bit of a check-in. And then what we did at certain times would be like, okay, whoa, all of us are really high. I think we need to do kind of a reset. And we would do a screen time goal. So we would realistically go, okay, I have 6 hours and 40 minutes average. What is realistic for Rachel? Okay, I think I could shed an hour or two of scrolling. I know that I'm scrolling. So I'm going to do 4 hours is my goal to average on the week.
Isn't that crazy nowadays that we spend so much time doing that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And what's interesting is we would set these kind of screen time goals and we would have a prize, right? Like, okay, if everyone gets this, we're going to go out and go to some fancy dessert place. And we did. Or if everyone gets this, we'll go on this awesome adventure and see something new. Like maybe we'll do a new ropes course or we'll go somewhere that maybe costs a little bit than just normally going out and doing whatever. So we would have these goals and that was kind of a fun motivation to help us and also make us aware of what our screen time was. And honestly, we probably need to do a reset as school has started. We need to like reset and get back into like really focusing. But what I love is our girls that have turned in their iPhones.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously now don't have a lot of screen time at all, if not any.
Yeah.
And they do use the computer for like,
texting.
school.
They'll be on it for texting. They're in a whole bunch of little text groups and all that kind of
texting is
stuff.
okay, but I think it's really good to kind of like at times for our screen time reflection would be like, hey, what's your social media at? And you can click just on that and it will average your time, right? It will say, oh, you were on 2 hours a day on social media. Okay, well, we can scratch that. Because if you're texting, FaceTiming, messaging your friends, I find that like that's fine. You know what I mean? As long as it's not excessive, like 5 hours of messaging a day, then I think that's not too bad. So we have tried to establish some healthy screen time habits. A lot of times, like if you go on there's apps that can help you. There are a bunch of apps and I will link them in the description of ones that are really good at help managing your social media. You can get apps that are free and it will only allow you so many times in or 10 minutes each time. And you set those boundaries, not other people. You set those boundaries and it helps you to go, oh, I'm going to go in and post this thing. I'm not going to scroll. Some other healthy screen time things that we like to do is like kind of set boundaries as to where screens are allowed. Like we don't allow them at the dinner table, which is hard because sometimes Mr. Bennett likes to bring his phone to the table.
I live under the bus, guys. You can't even throw me under it. I already live there.
No, Jace likes to share his memes at the table because now the girls don't have their phones there. So he'll bring into it. But we have like zones. I try to do it at the table.
In Scotland, they didn't take it upstairs to the bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Here, they don't take it downstairs to the bedrooms. And I think that for keeping away certain addictive habits and things, if it's in your bedroom, it just changes it. Because if your bedroom can be a place of solace, your bedroom can be a place of retreat, and you can go there. Like our dog Shaw, he's an introvert. He is a huge Doberman. But when too many people come over, he'll just go to bed and go and sit in his bed because that's his safe space. Our female dog, she'll go sniff everybody, get all antsy, and she'll be like, oh, he's down there. She'll go to bed. That is their safe space. And so for our kids, keeping all of social media out of their bedrooms is just good family.
Well, it is definitely really good habits because there's so many things that can come in on a phone or a device, right?
That you wouldn't let into your bedroom.
Well, honestly, like pornography is a really big one that you should be talking about for screen safety as well, because that is everywhere, right? And we know that when you keep digital devices out of your bedroom, computers, phones, it cuts out the chance of having pornography seen in the bedroom, and a lot of times cuts out that sneakiness if they are trying to look at those things. So that's something that we do, is we don't keep it. And Jason and I, even ourselves, we put our phones on this nightstand outside of our door and plug them in at night out there. And that has honestly helped our bedtime routine. Like if it was next to my bed, I would scroll at night and I would not get enough sleep.
She'd scroll until the phone would hit her in the face.
Seriously. And then I wouldn't get good sleep, right? Because they say blue light exposure an hour before your bed disrupts your sleep.
Well,
right?
It says it's worse than a can of caffeine.
Yeah. I really believe so. So if you can set some boundaries, have like a no screen time or no screen zone. And I'm thinking of implementing it in the bathroom. Having no screens in the bathroom, because I think that that's super important.
I'm gonna have to move like a book into the bathroom so I can read. Actually, my friends had a stack. Like, people think we're so different nowadays. There's this image from 1920 something, and then a person in almost the same metro, same spot, same photo.
This. I love it.
And now everyone's on their phones. But in the 1920s, guess what?
They were on their newspapers.
They all had a magazine. That's why the movie Newsies came out. Anyways, so everybody had a magazine. So my cousins, when I was a kid, I loved going in the bathroom because they had their stack of Marvel and their stack of DC comic books next to the toilet. Always had to sit so they could keep their comics within reaching distance and they could read their comic books.
That's hilarious.
And so I loved going into the bathroom.
That's hilarious.
And I would read comics. So are we any different now than then? Not really.
No, we're not. But it is good to like be aware.
So if my phone can't go in, I'm going to take a book in and I'll probably spend longer.
Okay. You take the book in. I like the book idea, honestly, a lot better. But another concept that came up, I think, that we have done unintentionally are screen-free travel adventures.
Yeah.
So we don't like purposely go, okay, where can we go where the kids won't have service so that we can be like together more. But some of our best travel adventures is when the kids did not have service. So we would road trip from Utah all the way up to Alaska, which is 60 hours. And a majority of that you don't have service because you're just out in the middle of nowhere. So
Clay is still begging to go on an Alaska road trip just because she loved that.
She loves the road trip, and we would play games. We would have we would have movies on the
only when the sun went down. Mm-hmm. That was the rule. Once the sun went down, then we could watch. But what's funny is we'd start a movie and the sun would be down. They'd be so tired from road tripping all day, they'd just fall asleep anyway.
It was a good technique, guys. It was a good
book
technique.
on tape was our trick for that.
Well, that's like some of like the healthy screen time habits that we try to go for. And I would love to hear what kind of things you guys do for your families to keep them digitally safe, keeping that screen time kind of under wraps, because it's a real addiction, honestly. Yeah. It's a real addiction, that scrolling, that blue light. Anyways, those are some fun things that we've kind of shared. But I want to give you some takeaways that might help your family, as it has helped us.
Yep.
So we like to have like kind of digital conversations at the table, having those times, or maybe Monday morning where you kind of go over your screen time, conversations about what they think life should be like online, whether it's like the content you make or dangers of predators or people in DMs, things like that. It's good to have these conversations and get your children's and teenagers' perspectives, because
and get them used to talking to you about it. So when something does happen, they don't have that blockade in their head of, I can't talk to them about this. Instead, like, no, we've had tons of these little conversations. It's fine. It's
really good to open that door, because you don't know what kind of fear can set in if someone's threatening them online. And, you don't want to have that situation pop up and not be able to help and protect your child.
Yeah, totally.
Something that we did talk about earlier that I highly encourage is the family tech agreement or the phone contract. If your kids have a phone, have them kind of set their own boundaries. You'll be surprised at what they do.
And it was because we bought their phones. And so we were able to put a contract to it. If they buy their own phone, what would you do? And they pay for their own plan.
We've actually kind of talked about this. We encourage them, if you want to set those rules, you can pay for these things. But I think when it's in your house, I think you are allowed to set some boundaries as well.
Yeah.
And it might just be the zones.
So then you call it house rules.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it could be.
Cool.
And, there's always tons of apps out there to help you with safety or to keep, your time management under control. Like we use Screen Time, but there's so many other apps. If you guys use apps, I would love to know. Honestly, I would love to hear all about
Comment
it.
them down below. We'd love to know what you guys use because we can only look at so many things so many times. So it's great.
So this week, I want to encourage you guys to ask your kids how they feel about being online, like what they put on online or what their interactions are online, and just listen. Don't
no
give advice.
Unsolicited advice.
That's right.
No advice.
Don't boss them
Just
around,
listen.
but just listen to kind of what they say, because honestly, I think you'll be surprised as to what they might say.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I just got back from Alaska, if you can't tell. And Wyatt and I had an epic conversation. And we sat in the woods and we filmed it. And Wyatt and I did a podcast. And that comes out after this one. It was very interesting. I didn't tell him what it was about. And I let the conversation get there naturally. It was super fun. So come back next week. My episode with Wyatt, us up in Alaska. It's super, super cool.
And if you want to hear how I interviewed Clay on being the oldest to being raised and then becoming a peer and then to being married and kind of those expectations. So it was really interesting. That's last week's episode. So go check that out. We're so grateful that you guys are here. We want to hear your comments on more podcasts and interviews because after Wyatt, we might be interviewing the little girls too. So keep watching and paying attention. We've got some fun things coming up.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
We'll see you guys next time on Raising Ohana. Bye.